morning. First and foremost, I give praise and thanks to God, from whom all blessings flow. I thank each and every one of you for being here. This is going to surprise some of you. 2020 will mark my 40th year in business. This is my very first press conference. So I thank you very much. This is my inaugural. It just proves that it doesn't matter what age you are, God always can bless you with something new, a learning experience, a new opportunity. So excited about Urban One Honors, which we will take on December the 5th at the MGM. It is specifically created to honor the 40 years of the existence of Radio 1. It seems almost impossible to me that I've been in business for 40 years. I was reading an article recently that talked about how our mental age is so different from our physical age, because quite honestly, I feel like I'm 40. I am excited about an incredible program that's been put together. I just pray that none of my staff members just keel over, because they literally are working some days 18 hours literally to try to get everything accomplished for it to be the best that we've ever done. One of the things that I love about my company is that everything we do in terms of interaction with our community is based on trying to create a memorable experience for our listeners, our viewers, and our online participants, because we feel that we have an obligation to do more than just entertain. We try to weave education and social activism into everything that we do. I was very blessed at the age of 8 years old to identify what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, which was be a voice for my people. My first radio job occurred when I was 8 years old in our bathroom in public housing. I grew up in the projects, and we had 6 people in the house and 1 bathroom. I don't know how people do that, but we did it. Every morning I would get up early, and I'd go in and I'd lock the bathroom door, and I would take my toothbrush and I would do my radio show. They would be my brothers and sisters, my mama and my daddy, my mother and my father. I got punished more for my radio show at 8 years old than I was for getting a bad grade or not getting home on time, because I didn't open the door. I did not come out of the bathroom and allow the other 6 people in. It was 6 in addition to me into that bathroom until I concluded my radio show. My radio show didn't have much music in it. Didn't have a turntable in the bathroom, but also I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and so I grew up listening to Willie Nelson and Conway Twitty, and I was an expert on country and western, but knew very little about black music and black radio until my mother bought me a transistor radio, and I was able to pick up stations from around the country. I knew at 8 years old that I wanted to dedicate my life to the dissemination of information for my people. I've always had this burning desire that when my obituary is read, that it will have a line in it saying that things were just a little bit better for black folks because God chose to put me on this planet. And I have been blessed that my partner is my son, who was willing to embrace my vision. He was willing to take on my mission. One of the things about generational businesses, if any of you here are in any generational business, it's very hard to get the second generation, your children, your grandchildren, the third generation, to really embrace and fulfill your dream, because they have dreams of their own. They have their own missions. They have their own desires. So when I'm asked oftentimes what I view as my greatest accomplishment, I say requiring, encouraging, and inspiring my son to embrace a dream that I've had since I was 8 years old. We're only 40 years into it. Since I think I'm still 40, I'm going to try to go for another 40. And at this time, with God's energy, I'm going to try for another 40. I'm just getting started, in fact. Because can I tell them that we have a promotional tease going on with promoting December 5th. And it's my air personalities are all arguing over who is going to be the host. So let me just say to you, I'm in charge of that decision. And I'm kind of partial to the host that I've chosen for that evening, because I think that since I've lived every day of those 40 years and have never had the opportunity, just like I said, this is my very first press conference, I've certainly have never had the opportunity to host an award show. So guess who the host is going to be, and that's all I'm going to say. I'd like to introduce you to the individual who has expanded our company, who has provided leadership like I'm impressed with, and I never ever thought that my prayers would be answered to this level. Most importantly, was willing to sacrifice what he wanted to do with his life and follow his own list of priorities, and instead embraced my dream and vision. My business partner, our CEO, and my only child, Russ Parr. Are we now, we read the real Russ. There may be a little, okay, Alfred Liggins.
You know, Russ Parr does not look like my brother. Yeah. No, I'm not sure. I want to know where we got him from, man. Where were you? Would you come from? Dallas? Was that where we got?
With 3 daughters, remember? 3 children.
We've been together a long time. Well, look, this is great to see everybody here in our corporate offices for us to announce and talk about our 40th anniversary. Urban One Honors was created last year, and started out as a local radio promotion, and then once I realized what was going on, I really felt like it could become a signature tentpole for us to build around, and we decided to really focus on it. And this year, we're really amping the production up, and it also coincides with something that's extraordinarily important to the company, and that's our 40th anniversary. Hard to believe that we've been in business for 40 years. I've actually been in the company. The company was founded in 1980. I joined in 1985. She likes to, tell the story that I embraced her dream, but the truth is I needed a job at the time. And she wasn't very forthcoming with help while I was living out in Los Angeles, California. She was like, "You need to come back and work." And so I was really appreciative for the job that you gave me to get back on my feet, and she put me in the sales department.
And commission only.
Yeah, and which worked for me, because I finally found something to do with all the nervous energy that I had in school, which kept me talking too much. So she sent me out to businesses to talk to them, and then somewhere along the line I got around to ask them if they would like to advertise so we could bring them more customers, and it's been an amazing experience, actually. I remember as a young sales rep, one of the things that was most fascinating for me to see, and a lot of you look really young here, so you may not remember this, but a mentor of Mom's and someone she used to work with at Howard University, Tony Brown, started this Buy Freedom campaign. And the Buy Freedom campaign was basically a movement to do business with African American owned businesses. Wow. And you would get a little sticker that you would put on your door, and we were doing Black Talk at WALE, and we ended up getting behind that campaign and created, a Buy Freedom package, 100 spots for $1,450, $14.50 a spot, and it was which was our frequency at WALE. And it was amazing for me to see the intersection of our audience supporting these businesses and the businesses using the radio station, and I mean, it really became an engine, for growth and commerce, and for businesses and the community and the media, kind of sticking together. And that was, I think that was one of the seminal events in my career where I could actually see, the kind of impact that a media outlet could have. And from that, little small radio station at 4th and H Street, we've built, what we have today, all built on the same principles of serving the African American community. And it's tough to talk about how old you are, but when you go back and we think about the people that have come through our organization. I remember when Wendy Williams was doing afternoon drive on that small AM radio station, WOL. I remember one of our first stations outside of Washington in Atlanta. Ludacris and his partner Shaka Zulu were the night team, and Lala Anthony was there. I remember hiring Steve Harvey and putting him on the radio in Los Angeles, and then syndicating him back to Dallas, Texas. I remember bringing Russ Parr, from Dallas, Texas, to come be on WKYS when we had just bought it, and we were trying to take down the behemoth WPGC at the time, who had Donnie Simpson as the morning show. And Russ, you came in and you did an amazing job. And now Donnie Simpson is working with us. And I remember hiring Ricky Smiley when the idea of syndicating Steve Harvey from Los Angeles back to Dallas, Texas, turned out to be a really bad idea, because you had to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to try to be on the air at 6 a.m. Dallas time. So we hired Ricky Smiley and put him in Dallas, and then started his syndication career. All of these people have passed through Radio 1 and have gone on to become amazing talent that allowed us to also expand ourselves into other mediums. And I remember one, I think it was the Millennium. It was a New Year's Eve, and I was watching BET. I was in Miami and sitting around with a bunch of friends, and I saw what looked like was a countdown show on BET, but the quality of the videos was grainy, and the production quality at the time, was just awful. And I just remember sitting around, that this is really the only channel for African Americans, and I was like, we've got to be able to do something else, other than this, that would, have a different representation. And that's where I really kind of committed to creating a second option for black people on television. And it took a while, but in 2003, we were able to make a deal with Comcast in order to launch TV One. And TV One ended up really being the second credible African American network that became successful. And when we launched it, BET was largely music videos and infomercials, as many of you might remember. And shortly after us launching and getting traction, you started to see them get better, and now you see the proliferation of black content everywhere. And I remember when we started that network in 2004, there wasn't anything out there. It was, and that's why it got so much traction so fast. But today you see African American content in so many places, actors, actresses, directors, producers, and I'd like to think that we had a part to play in that catalyst and that explosion of African American content. We are having Urban One Honors in the MGM National Harbor Resort Casino. And that's also befitting because the company is actually a minority owner of that casino. They're second largest shareholder behind MGM. It's a beautiful property. We were actually going to hold it at another place because we were going to get a better deal at this other place. And Russ Parr called me up and said, "Man, it's your 40th. Don't be cheap. Go go someplace nice." You remember that, Russ? So we took his advice, and you're really going to enjoy the property if you haven't haven't been there. And the team, led by Miss H and and Michelle Rice and Tamara Nectar, who's not here today, has been putting together an amazing show to celebrate this 40th anniversary. And I think that you all will be pleased to see the connections that we have had over the years, the people that will come to celebrate those connections, the people that will be honoring, and the entertainment that will be there to celebrate our 40th anniversary as well. So I would like to say welcome and thank you. As usual, they told me that I was going to have some remarks about 15 minutes before I was supposed to give them, and I was like, well, and I always pretend like I don't know what to say, and then I get up here and I keep talking, and I've been talking now. I'm a salesman. I just start talking. It used to get me in trouble in school, and then I turned it into a career, and now I'm the guy who goes on too long. Right? So anyway, thank you, and happy anniversary, Urban One.
He hates being on the microphone. I don't have a program, Jemiah. Thank you, Alfred. All right. I was in my car 3.5 hours this morning getting here. A tragic 12-alarm fire at an apartment building had everyone at a standstill for over an hour and a half. So I apologize for not having it in front of me. One of the things that I'm very excited about our Urban One Honors this year is the fact that we are practicing diversification. You hear a lot about diversify, and usually that means hire some black folks. But, all right, that ain't worked. And so I think diversification, particularly if you're an African American, means the inclusion of all of our people. I think that it means that you have to really change your way of thinking about things, that you must be open to new opportunities, new individuals, new philosophies, new theologies. One of the things that I think that the millennials have really helped us in older generations embrace is the reality that a lot of the things that we've been doing for centuries has not worked, and that we are further apart and more divided than ever before. So how do we change that? We change that by including everyone. And right now, the number one, the toast his name into every single solitary thing that's going on in the world of entertainment is none other than Billy Porter. What Billy Porter has done with his life in terms of being not the most incredible performer in all of these genres, just one award away from matching John Legend's record of having the ultimate award in every category that can possibly be awarded. But more importantly, his firm stand on who he is and what he believes and how he loves his people. I accidentally became aware of an incredible television show, Pose. I became aware of it when Madonna did a song that I could identify with, because many years ago, and I hope Alfred's gone back to his office so he doesn't faint, many years ago I was in New York, and a dear friend of mine who was in the life said to me that there's a players ball tonight. Don't you want to go? I said, oh yeah, I want to see a players ball. When we got there, it was not a players ball at all. And he was like highly indignant, and he stormed out. I didn't go anywhere. I had never even seen, I didn't even know that what you see on Pose is the real life story of a large segment of our community that not only has been ignored, but has been persecuted by ourselves. Old ways of doing things, the refusal to accept that everybody is not the same, that we have differences. But the one thing that we all have is that if you are a person of color, you are oppressed. Okay, you are mistreated, you are overlooked. And so this is not a battle that any one segment of our community needs to fight by itself.